name's Christopher M. Hunt Sr., and I've got a PhD in theology, a master's in counseling, and ordained. And I'm the founder of GodIsLove.chURch. The base organization is FirstLove.org, FirstLove.org. And I'm excited to start these first ever YouTube videos for sermons because our house church got shut down because of COVID-19, so I'm going online, and I'm going to be addressing in a very succinct way, the primary principles of challenging Christian doctrine that I've encountered in my growth since having accepted the Lord at 19, after rejecting Christianity because of some bad experiences in the Catholic Church, and then when I accepted the Lord at 19, they gave me a Bible and I said, God, if this is your word, I'm going to live at 110%. You're going to have to prove it though. I'm going to forget anything and everything I've ever been taught. I'm just going to live your word if this is your word. And it required a lot of effort and a lot of focused discipline. Waking up at 5 a.m. by the Holy Spirit, by angels, giving me Charlie horses, to where the first 2 times I had excruciating Charlie horses in my leg, and I was like, what is going on? 5 o'clock in the morning. And then the second time, it's like, God, do you want me to start waking up at 5 a.m.? And since 19, 20 years old, I've been waking up at 5 a.m., praying an hour, then I did an hour's worth of Bible study, I've written books and everything, then I went to Bible college. And when the Lord called me into ministry, I did not call myself, okay? I was in the business world. I was vice president of a family business that my dad was grooming me to take over. It was a $50 million family business. And I had a literal mountaintop experience with God where my dad and I were on a 356-acre mountain that he wanted me to sell for him up in North Georgia in an affluent Tate Mountain area. And we got separated in the woods. And during that time, I was waking at 5 a.m., praying for an hour, studying the Bible for an hour. I memorized the book of Revelations over a summer while designing and developing subdivisions of 500, 600, some of the homes now are $700,000, $800,000 homes. So I could memorize a chapter the entire week, and then the next week I'd move on to the next chapter. So by chapter 20, I couldn't do chapters 1 through 20, but every week I had memorized an entire chapter of the book of Revelations. I was leading an all-night intercessory prayer meeting for 3.5 years. I led that at Mount Perrin called Sun Power. We'd start on the eve of the first Sunday of each month. So I was leading that all night. We'd pray. Twice we had tongues and interpretations that at different services were duplicated during the next morning service, which is impossible for us in a small group to have a tongue and an interpretation and a word from the Lord. And then in a service by somebody that was not a part of our small group, give a tongue, and Paul Walker would give the interpretation or whatever, and it lined up. We knew we were in touch with God. And so living like this, fasting every Sunday, the Lord ended up calling me to the ministry where I was on the 356-acre mountain. My dad and I got separated in the woods. And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit started to deal with me in a supernatural way. And I said, God, am I in this am I in your will, or am I in this for the money? I asked the Lord because the Holy Spirit was moving on me so profoundly. God, am I in your will, or am I in this for the money? And he spoke to me as if an audible voice. One of the few times he ever spoke to me, it was like an audible voice. And he said, if you follow me, I'll save your dad and your whole family. And within 3 months, the Lord had led me against what a lot of people advised me to Toccoa Falls Bible College. So I left everything. It was the Bible college. And it was during these times that I had to really examine my faith, because I was going to be sharing and preaching to others. I'm not one of these scumball, pastors for a paycheck. I'm not one of these, popes with a smoozy board. I've had a staff of 17, a school with 100 kids in it, a Christian Montessori school, founded a counseling center, all that within 16 months by my own credit cards on a family property, with no family giving me any money. In fact, my family ended up in greed, bankrupting it, stealing a whole bunch of money, and got it to make $1 million because they were jealous and greedy, like a Joseph story. But the thing that I want to share on is this, is that the Lord's led me like into what Francis Chan was confirming. The Lord was leading me before Francis Chan left his church and started home churches and things, and I just had some extreme challenges. And battles from the Lord. So I'm standing though in the Lord, and like the Apostle Paul went through a lot, I believe what I have is very important truth for you to learn. And what I want to share is the questions that concern me. Today's sermon is going to be about God is love. He is. But let me clarify this, because we need to understand who God is as love. And so today's message is going to be God is not unconditional love. It's very important. It's just not a nuance. But God is love, but he's not unconditional love. So I'd like to start off with two songs. One is a classic that I've kind of improvised, and the other is an original song, Vessel of Silver, Vessel of Your Pure Love. So we'll take a break and come back with two worship songs and then get into the message.